Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl Jeannie, and of course, it's Jeannie's signature. So, this is what we'll be making today: a gown kaftan. This is the inspiration, and of course, this is mine. So, I made the sleeve part a little bit longer because that was what my client wanted. But if you want yours to be exactly as that on the thumbnail, please kindly make use of like 10 inches or 11 inches max. But for mine, I made use of like 15 inches or 14 inches so that it will be a little bit longer than that of the inspiration. So if this is what you would like to watch, please kindly watch till the end. Hit on the subscribe button, like, share, and please give this video a very big thumbs up. So without wasting further time, let's get right into the tutorial proper. So this is my fabric. Please, if you want to make this style, kindly ensure or make sure that you have up to 6 yards of fabric or more, because you just need enough fabric to achieve that style. And you're going to exhaust it, believe me. So without wasting time, okay, I'm just trying to show you my gadgets. Sorry, I have a cold. I still have a cold. I'm still treating it. So if my voice sounds somehow, please kindly manage it. So now I'll be folding my fabric and then I'll be back to show you. So whatever your biggest part of your body measurement is, please kindly use it to fold and then add your sewing allowances. So for my clients, our biggest part of her body is a hip measurement, which I've done. So that is what I have on fold with some allowances. So now we're going to be getting the length of the gown because it's a very long gown. So I got my length and the length was 56 inches. So now I'll be dividing my shoulder measurement by 2. So whatever that is, please kindly mark. And then I will be coming down for a armhole and I'll be marking 9 inches. And so I'll be connecting that. So I'm marking what I have on my shoulder after dividing it and adding my sleeve allowance half an inch. So I'll be connecting that as you see me do. So just connect it like so. It's just like drafting our basic bodies. So if you know how to draft the basic bodies, you can even go ahead before I finish mine. So I'm marking my shoulder slope and I'll be making use of 1 inch. And then for the neck width, you can see that the neck was wide, so I made use of 4.5 inches. If you like, you can go for 5 inches. And for the depth, I'm making use of 6 inches or 5.5 inches because I'll still increase that neck depth because my client is somebody that doesn't like a choky neckline. She likes it wide and deep, so I'll be coming to adjust that later. But for now, I marked 5.5 inches. So now I'll be sloping down the shoulder slope like so, and of course I'll remember to add half an inch for my shoulder joining. And so the next thing I'll be doing is to get my bust measurement. So my bust measurement divided by 4, and then I'll be adding 1 inch for ease and then 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. I was just trying to divide that because you know this kind of measurements that have half after it, so I just wanted to ascertain and to be sure of what I'm marking. So and then I'll be adding 1 inch for ease because this is not supposed to be very tight, and then 1.5 inches of sewing allowance. And so now I'll be getting my waistline, which is my half cut of my half length. So whatever that is, please kind of mark. For my client, hers is 18.5, that is 18.5 inches. So I'll be indicating that as you see me do. So if you don't have your shoulder to half cut or shoulder to waist measurement or shoulder to hip measurement rather, please just kindly place your tape on your waistline and then mark your waist to hip measurement, whatever that is. So for my client, our waist to hip is 10 inches and I just marked it from there because I can't remember taking a measurement for the shoulder to the waist. So I'm rolling that out as you see me do. So now we're going to be getting our vertical measurement for the waist. So the waist divided by 4, our waist is 42 inches divided by 4, that should give me 10.5. So I'll be marking 10.5 and then I'll add 1 inch for ease and then 1.5 inches of sewing allowance. And then for the hip, my client's hip is 50 divided into 4. That will give me 12.5. My baby was disturbing here, trying to drag the tripod stand. So I'm marking 12.5, 1 inch for ease, and then 1.5 for sewing allowance. Oh, sorry, let me just. Hi, these children can be very funny at times. So I've already gotten all of that. I was just trying to get whatever I have on my hip line. That is what I'll be taking straight to the hem, the full length. So that is what you see me do. But if you want yours tapered, you can just remove 1 inch or 1.5 inches from your hip allowance and then you connect. So I'll just be rolling that straight down, just connecting the lines. I'm making use of my hip curve. I hope this chalk was kind of visible because I didn't know what chalk to use again. But I didn't have white again, so I had to use this red chalk. Hope you can see the lines clearly. So now in order to get our armhole for the front, I'm going to be getting the midpoint, which is 8. That's 4, and then I'll come in by half an inch and then I'll connect. So that will be for the front neck armhole. But when I'm cutting it out, I'll be cutting out the back armhole first. That is the one you don't come in by any half an inch. So let me cut this out so that I'll place this on the back and then cut out the back before adjusting the neckline and then the armhole for the back. So now I'd already gone ahead to fold my fabric and I've placed the front on the back, making sure that I have a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches, as you can see the way I placed it. So you can see, just make sure you add your zipper allowance, whatever that is. So I'm going to be cutting this out exactly as it is. So I'll be cutting the armhole for the back, so I will not be coming in by that half an inch like I said. And then I'll be slanting the shoulders. And then for the neckline, I just wanted to cut off the excess that was there first. And so for the back neckline, I'll just be coming down by 2 inches. So I'll be connecting that like so. So I'll be cutting the back neckline first before coming back to adjust that of the front, and then of course the armhole. So for the back we're through, then I'll notch the zipper allowance and then I'll slit it open because it has to be in two. Yeah, I forgot to add that at the zipper allowance, the way we usually do it, like I take off like half an inch from the waist area up. I didn't do it here because I forgot. It was while I was like not really forgot, I was in a rush. So it was while I was sewing it that I adjusted that. So if you don't know how to do that, please kindly watch most of my videos that comes with all these styles that have zipper. You'll see the way I did it so that it will avoid bulginess at the zip area. So I'll be setting this aside. and then I'll be heading over to adjusting that of the front. So let me adjust the neckline, the armhole first. So cut off the half an inch that we came in with. And then of course I'll be cutting out the neckline. So I'll still be adjusting this neckline like I told you. When I opened it up, I was like, okay, my client wouldn't like this, so I needed to make it deeper by 1 inch. So I was about to do this design for the front, like explain how I did it before. I just felt like, I need to adjust this neckline first before going to do that. So let me just quickly do that, and then we'll go back to how to attach the bias on the neckline. So I'll be coming down by 1 inch. I just made it 1 inch deeper. So at the end of the day, what we'll be having will be 6.5 inches depth. So I'll just connect that carefully to the neckline. So I'll cut that out. Okay. So yes, I'm through with the neckline. So I'm going to be opening it up. So you can see it's deep the way it should want it. So whatever your client wants is what you give them. So now in order to have that design that we see on the neckline area, I'll be coming down by 2 inches from my neckline, and I'll be marking that from the shoulder area to the other shoulder area, round like that. And I'll be connecting it. And so for the second line, you see that there are two bias lines on the style. So for the next line, I'll just be coming down by 1 inch, because the spacing between the two is not that much. If you like, you can do half an inch, but I just decided to go for 1 inch. So you just mark the 1 inch all the way around. So just connect the lines like so. So it's on those lines that you marked that you're going to be sewing your bias. You just sew it on both sides of the bias. There's no need to sew one side and then flip over. No, just place it flat and then run lines or stitches on both sides of the bias. So you place it like this and then you run stitches on both sides of it, following the lines that are marked. You sew it all the way around like that. Then you come to the next line and then you do the same thing like so. So basically, after this whole period here, what I'm going to be doing that I will be cutting my lining, because I'll be making use of a lining for this. If you want to make use of a facing, please kindly go ahead and use a facing, or if you want to make use of a bias to just turn the neckline and make it easy, please, you can go ahead and do that. But for mine, I cut out the lining and I used the lining. So I've gone ahead to attach the bias band, as you can see. I've not ironed it here. I've not given this a good press at all. I've not. But later I'll be doing that because I need to rush things up before my baby wakes up. So I've already gone ahead to attach my zipper as well, as you can see. And I've equally joined the shoulders. So we're going over to how we got that agbada like I don't know how to call it. Yeah, it looks like agbada now, or butterfly like design that you saw on the thumbnail. So in order to do achieve that, I'm going to be measuring from my shoulders down to my knee. So if you see the thumbnail or the video on the thumbnail, you'll see that the woman there that is wearing this design, the cape, yeah, or the butterfly like cape got to her knee. So whatever your client's knee length is, please kindly mark. So that is what I'm marking there. I have 39 inches. So that's what I marked. And then for the back, you're going to be marking the same thing as well because the thing went from back to the front or from front to the back. So you'll be marking 39 here and 39 there. So whatever that is, you are going to multiply whatever you mark, that's that 39 times 2. So 39 times 2, that should give me what? 9, 39. I think that should give you like 80, 76, I believe, or 78. Yeah, that should give me 78. So I'll be cutting out 78 inches long of a fabric. But before we go over to that, yeah, we have two methods of achieving this. So I'll be explaining the two methods. So anyone that you feel that is okay for you, you can rightly go ahead. But I'll be giving you the differences between the two methods so that you would know the one to go for. But I had to go for the second method anyways because it's consumed less of fabric. So for the first method, what you simply need to do is to get the length of the butterfly you're going to be needing. And when we measure that of the front, I told you that we got 39 inches. So 39 plus 39, because we are taking it all the way to the back, that will give us 78 inches. So when you divide 78 inches by 3.14, because you're going to be cutting this as a 180-degree flare, not 360, because if you got 360 degrees, it will be too big. And as you saw on the thumbnail, it's not supposed to be too big. So 180 is okay. So when you divide it by 180, that is 180 degrees. Anything we for flare or circle, we divide by 3.14. So whatever you have, like that's 78 inches now, you divide by 3.14. So whatever you get, that is what you're going to be using to cut out. So you fold your paper or your fabric into two. Unlike the way we fold into four when we want to cut 360, we fold into two for 180 because it's half of 360. So when you fold that, whatever you got when you divided the 78 by 3.14 is what you mark out at first. Imagine you mark that out at first because that's not the real thing. Then you now mark out from wherever you marked, whatever you marked out at first, then you now mark out the length you want for your flare. So you can see that that is going to consume a whole lot of fabric. So that is it for the first method. So the second method is the slash and spread method, which I find easier and it consumes less fabric. So for that, I'm just going to be getting the length of my fabric that I will be needing. So that is what I had to join this paper. I made it longer so that I'll mark out 39 inches. So for this paper, I'm not cutting it on fold because this is just for illustration. And so this was where I marked my 14 inches. So this was where I told you at the beginning of the tutorial that if you don't want it to be 14 inches, just mark out 10 or max 11 inches. That should be okay. But I marked my 14 inches because it's based on what my client wants. So you can see that is what I marked, and the length of that paper, like I told you, is 39 inches. So bear in mind that when you are cutting this on your fabric, it should be on fold. But this paper is single because I don't want to waste my fabric. So this is on fold. This is on fold. It's on fold. So bear it in mind that when you are cutting your fabric, it should be on fold. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to simply roll out some lines, or let me just slant, you know, that edge. When you look at the knee side, you can see that it's not straight, it's slanted. So I just want to slant it to give it that shape. I believe that when I was using this thing, it was just not working for it, so I just had to use my free hand to do that. And sorry, I didn't know the camera was not capturing that very well, so sorry. So let me just do that, and then let me slant it out. Even when I was cutting it out on my fabric, I still made it a little bit tapered at that, as in at that extreme end. And you know, mine was looking more like this because it's more wider than that on the thumbnail. Because if I had used like 10 inches, it would have been a little bit more tinier from that area, but it still came out beautiful like you saw. So it entirely depends on whatever you want. So let me just go ahead now and slash and spread it. So I'll just be rolling out some lines. You don't really need to measure. So just roll out some lines as you deem fit. So at this point, if you watched up to this level, what are you waiting for? Please kindly hit on that subscribe button, like, share, and please kindly subscribe. So now I'll be cutting this out. I'll be doing that off camera. Place it on my fabric. Please ensure that it's on fold. Please don't forget. Ensure that it is on fold. And that folded part should not be cut into two. It should be on fold there, because that is where we'll be sitting on our shoulders. So let me quickly do that, and then I'll be back to show you how I placed it on the fabric. So so let me just quickly do that, and I'll be right back to show you. So yes, this is exactly how you're going to be placing it on your fabric. Please ensure that it's on fold. So now I'll be cutting this out, and then I'll be cutting out two pieces of this, because this is how we're going to be placing it on our. So I've cut it out already, as you can see. So I'll be showing you how I'll be attaching it. So I've notched the sides that will go into the shoulder area like I showed you. So I'll be placing it right on the hammer like you see me do. And then I'll be using a pin to hold it down, because I've already notched the middle part. So when placing right there, ensure that you leave like about an inch, so that when you want to fix your sleeve, you won't run into any problem. So you run half an inch from the front to the back like so. And you are going to be repeating the same thing on the other side as well. when you are through that edge, you'll be using your bias to fold it so that it will be neat, just like you saw on the thumbnail. So let me just do that, fix my sleeves, and then I'll be right back to show you how it looks. And of course, you've already seen it on the thumbnail. So this is how it looks. It's looking beautiful. So if you enjoyed watching this, kindly watch to the